Hello everyone! In today's video we are going to participate in the TOONME hashtag. I don't know if you've seen it yet, but on Instagram there is a trending hashtag right now called TOONME, which is about turning half of a portrait of yourself into a cartoon character. So I went today and took a couple of pictures of myself. I realized when I was doing that I don't actually take that many selfies of myself anymore, and it was kind of like... I picked out one of the 200 that I took, and it's, which side should I do this on? Probably this one. This one! So I'm smiling, looking awkward as ever, and yeah, well, this just embodies everything that is me. But before we get started, I want to shout out this video's sponsor, who is once again the amazing Skillshare. She's so cute. Year 2020 has still just begun, and if you set a goal for yourself to become a better artist this year, then I recommend that you check out Skillshare. I've been working with Skillshare for almost a year now, so in the rare occasion that you still haven't heard of Skillshare, well, allow me to elaborate. Skillshare is an online learning community where creatives come together to learn, work on projects, and grow their artistic skill set. Skillshare offers thousands of inspiring classes for creatives and curious people on topics including illustration, design, video production, freelancing, animation, creative writing, and so much more. Most of the classes on Skillshare are less than an hour long and divided into chapters, so you can easily progress on your artistic journey without putting your life on hold. I also like to recommend classes I've completed myself on Skillshare, and today I want to recommend this class called Digital Character Illustration: Transform a Photo into a Stylized Portrait. It's made by Lord Gris. You might know her from Instagram, but I'll put the link in the description if you want to check out her class. So whether you're a professional artist, a beginner, or just curious, if you're ready to improve and explore your creativity, then make 2020 the year to better yourself. Use the link in the description to join Skillshare Premium for free for 2 months, and if you can't get enough of learning, an annual membership is less than $10 a month. Thank you so much for listening, guys, and super huge thanks to Skillshare for continuing to support this channel. Let's get on with today's video. So basically what I will be trying to do today is to give you a little walkthrough of how I created this piece, because as you will realize, it is not, it is my style, obviously, because it's the way that I draw, but I made it more realistic than I usually draw my portraits because I wanted it to match up against the reference and not being like completely out of this world. I see some entries do that and it looks amazing. I just didn't think that mine would. So I'm doing something to make it look a little more realistic. So I'm not doing an overpaint, but I am definitely using heavily referencing against the original photo. So the first thing that I did is that I drew a line across the picture just on a new layer to differentiate between the reference and the portrait and the drawn portrait. And I wanted it to line up like it was kind of following the curvature of my face, so that's why it's going like it's curving out and inwards, so to speak. And then I separated the image, the portrait, on the both sides of the line so that I could lower the opacity on the side that I was going to draw, and just on a new layer sketch on top of it, following the lines, like the major lines in the portrait. So that's how the sketch came to be, and sometimes, well, probably normally, and sometimes I will make some clean line art either by cleaning up the sketch so that it becomes more clean, or I will make a completely new layer with lines. In this case, I didn't do any of that. I just started to color and paint in directly on top of the sketch. It's just a different approach sorry, that I like to do once in a while. So after that, I did the basic structure that I usually do. I created flats for the layers, and then I used clipping masks to add shading and highlights on top of the flats. And then I also went over with the clipping mask on the sketch layer just to give the line art, quote unquote line art, the sketch some different variations in color depending on what color the flat underneath it is. And one of the things I struggled a bit with in this piece was the eye, because if you kind of separate the portrait from the artwork, it works. I would say it works all the time, but when you see them together, especially when you zoom out, I start to look like a lizard. So you'll see me kind of editing and resetting the eye a few times before finally by the end of the video adjusting it. I'm adjusting the pupil. I think what I realized was that I didn't draw the pupil big enough, because if you look on the reference or the portrait picture, oh my god, I can't speak right now. I'm sorry. My pupil is kind of touching the lower eyelid because I'm looking down, and on the drawn version I kept drawing it as if I was looking up. And I tried to fix the overall shape of the eye and it didn't work, and I just became more and more a lizard and I got frustrated. So at some point I'll just leave it a little and render some hair and then I'll return and correct the eye at the end. I think this method where you lower the opacity of one side of the picture and then draw on top of your oh my god. I'm so sorry. I can't speak right now. If you then base your sketch on top of the reference. No, that didn't sound good either. You know what I mean? The thing that I did. You lower the opacity of your reference and then draw the sketch directly on top of that, and then they line up almost perfectly, and then you start to paint it in. It is much easier than drawing by freehand without using that sketch underneath. But this way you're sure that it lines up, and I was also surprised to find out that this piece only took me 1.5 hours. I usually spend like 3 or 4 hours on stuff like this. And maybe it's rushed, maybe I just got faster, I am not sure. Maybe I found an approach that works for me, because I don't think it's bad. I think maybe, actually, now that I think about it, it's because the reference to the face is just on the opposite side of that line. The reference is so close to what I'm drawing that I have a much easier time to replicate it. I actually think that's one of the reasons. But yeah, well, I also increased the saturation of the colors I'm painting with, because even though I know it doesn't match up completely with the portrait side of the picture, because it's just part of my style to use very vibrant colors, I guess. At least that's something you guys keep pointing out, and there must be some truth to it, because you know better than I do. I like to believe that, at least. But I am giving the portrait picture a boost of saturation and adjusting some lighting by the end, because I have a bit of backlighting going on in the picture. So I'm using a mask to kind of brighten up my face and figure, and not the background, and also giving a boost of color to that part as well. But overall, I think this was a really fun experience. I really encourage you to try to do the same. If you refuse or just feel uncomfortable, or for any reason don't want to put your own face out there, just use a face you find on Pinterest or something. It's actually a really great exercise now that you have the reference just lined up beside, and you're kind of just drawing one half of the image. It's really fun, and it gives a nice effect. I think there's a reason that this hashtag is trending, right? Because people like to watch the not transformation, like an artist's interpretation of a given image. That's also why the draw this in your style and just redraws of people are so popular, because we like to watch that interpretation. And to me personally, it's very inspiring to watch how others interpret pictures or references that they use. And we are about finished right now. I added a bit of backlight to the drawn portrait so that it looks more like she's in the environment where with the background that I clipped out. And I'm just adding a few extra strokes here and there to just make it all a little more magical, I guess. So I really hope that you liked this video and found it useful and enjoyed the overall process. And like the outcome, of course. Thank you so much for watching this video, guys, and remember to use my Skillshare link in the description below if you want to have 2 months of free Skillshare Premium for yourself, so you can go watch that Lord Grizz Skillshare class, which is very relevant to this challenge as well. Once again, thank you guys, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye!